If something is far away, but you still see it, is it less scary than if it was up close and right in front of your face? I like to trick people and ask them trick questions, especially in regards to the sun and the moon. If the moon or the sun was directly above you or your house or your vicinity when you walked outside of wherever you are, would you panic? Or would you go, just keep going about? Or would you sit there and freak out and analyze why there's a gigantic sphere right above your head? What's the difference? Just because it's further out there a little bit more than rather it being right above you. Very odd. You would have an existential moment if you walked out wherever you are right now and there was a floating sphere right above you. It would defy all logic in your mind. You wouldn't be able to even concentrate properly. You would be completely freaked out. And you would immediately think something unknown is happening, something beyond. But yet, when we go outside and I talk to random people and I ask them about the sun, way over there, way up there, or the moon way over there, way up there, they go, huh? What do you mean? It's just a this, it's just a that. No, it's not. No, it's not. That same fear that you should have when it's right above your head is the same fear you should have in the questioning and the existential moment. You should have that every time you walk out your house and you look at it. There is no difference. Especially when you're forced to work and toil underneath it. And everything else that we go through in the human condition. No. I've noticed a lot of strange things in my lifetime. A couple of weeks ago, I was driving and there wasn't one cloud in the sky. Oh, I'm sorry, there was. There was just one cloud in the sky. Now, what are the odds of that? Nobody else noticed. Not that I know of. Nobody else cared. Nobody else. But you know what I always do when I'm driving my car? I roll down my window and I point at stuff. I just point and I look so that the cars behind me or in front of me or people on the street can see where I'm pointing at. That way it brings their attention to where they should be paying attention to. Like, why is there just one gigantic cloud in the sky? And it was kind of hovering above a mountain peak. And everywhere else in the sky, you turn around, there's no clouds. It was just one gigantic, long, oblongated cloud. Oh, peculiar, isn't it? I should start taking pictures when I see these weird phenomena because there's no way that just one cloud would be in the sky. I've heard things in near-death experience videos and stuff like that in regards to these single clouds that you see in the sky at times. And it's an alien cloaking device. It's cloaking their ship. They have the technology to cloak themselves as a cloud. I mean, that's the greatest thing you could ever cloak yourself as is a cloud. But I don't know why some ships or whatever species or whatever's going on out there, they don't think about why would you appear when there's no other clouds in the sky? But yet I've seen it. I've seen it. And it doesn't make sense. Another time, about a year ago, I was doing something to my Cadillac converters in my car. I heard from Scotty Kilmore on YouTube that if you put a gallon of paint lacquer thinner, cleaner tools, liquid inside of your gas when it's at a quarter, and you drive it out of town and back, it'll blow out your Cadillac converters and clear your codes. That way you can get your car smogged. And it works, if you don't know, temporarily. A couple months, maybe a month. Then it's back to your P420 codes. But on my way back from blowing my car out, I saw something. I saw something that I took a video of, and I don't even remember what happened to the video, almost as if it was extracted out of my mind. But I do remember the incident. On my way back, it was broad daylight. On the right side, there were green fields. On the left side, it was just dry land, dry, miles stretched out. And I was driving back into my city. And you know when you see the heat evaporation off of stuff, you see the little lines, the heat movements, the evaporation, or whatever it is? Well, I saw that on the left of me, and it was as big as a football field. Like, you know, when you open the car door and you see the little heat smoke lines or whatever, I saw that on the left of me as long as a football field. And it was forming around the silhouette of what it looked like a hovering ship. And it was as long as a football field. And it was so scary and bizarre and weird, and it was ethereal and translucent looking. Oh, excuse me. I pulled over. I pulled over because I ain't having that. I ain't just gonna drive by. What's my name is Brandon. Nope. I pulled over, and then I took my phone out and I recorded it, and I said, look at this. That's a whole freaking spaceship right there. And I was looking at it, and I was pointing at it in the street so people could. Nobody else stopped. Nobody else gave a damn. It was just me who noticed this strangeness. And it was creepy because it was as long as a football field, and it was hovering maybe about, I'm going to say like 10 to 15 feet off the air. And to this day, I don't know what I did with the footage. Bizarre. Because I know for a fact that I foldered it in my phone, and why didn't I email it to myself? Why didn't I do extra with the footage? Why didn't I send it to somebody? I didn't do anything. It just out of my mind. It no longer exists in my phone. But for some reason, I'm still left with the memory of it. Now that's bizarre. You know, you live long enough, you see a whole bunch of crazy things. Now I see why when you see older people walking in the street, they got their heads down and they got hands are behind their back, especially Indian people, and they just like, you wonder why they look so mean, why they're not talking to people. Where you live long enough and you realize your captivity. You realize your alien captivity, your spiritual prison. I don't know how they're coinciding, but they definitely are. They're coinciding, all right. You know, I think the scariest thing in the world at this point for me would be to realize that that God's not there. And if he is there, he's allowing these extraterrestrials, interdimensional, evil, demonic beings or whatever to encapsulate us and have us stuck in work simulators, suffering simulations. I mean, if God is there, which I've seen him before, I've lived long enough to see Jesus. Because, it's like he's allowing this simulation of work and toiling, confusion and fear. Like letting us see aliens and demons and stuff. And remember, I played with the Ouija board when I was a kid once or twice, and things moved around and spelled stuff on the board that wasn't there. I felt an invisible pressure pressing the pieces and stuff. And I had my questions when I was a kid, and I got my answers. But I only got my demonic answers. I never get holy answers. I never get holy. I just get demonic answers. There was one incident though that I did have in my past that was a holy answer, and it wasn't much of an answer. It was more of a statement, or they was just telling me something. They didn't tell me. They didn't answer my questions. They just said what they said. Every time I get a message from the holy side, it's always something narcissistic, where it's just their way, and that they don't hear what you gotta say. You hear what I said. That's how the good part of the universe talks to me. It just tells me what it want to tell me. It don't want to hear what I have to say. But a long time ago, I went to bed, and I was transported. I was astral projected out of my body, and I was flying through time and space in a pod. And on the right side of me, there was another spirit from this plane, I believe. And we were both being transported to a different place. And it lasted a brief second, but I do remember traveling. And then I remember landing in an apartment inside of a different dimension. But in this dimension, there was no evil. You could just smell it in the air. You could just feel it in the wind. There was no evil in this place. And it felt great. I didn't want to leave. It was this one, and I saw this woman. She was just typing on a computer, and I knew that she was an entity, a celestial entity, because you could just feel it exuding off of her. And I was very confused, and the apartment looked ratty and ghetto. It didn't look like no dimensional paradise. It would look like something on Earth, but I knew it was not of Earth because there was no evil in the air. You could feel that. You could feel when there's evil or no evil around. Immediately, you know. And she dealt with the guy next to me pretty much instantaneously. And then it was my turn for her to deal with me. And the first thing I said to her was, can I please stay here with you? I don't want to go back to wherever I was. This is amazing. I just want to be here with you. I don't know who she was. I just wanted to be there with her because it felt like there was no evil in this place. And she kind of giggled at me and ha ha he he and kind of blushed a little bit. She was gorgeous. I've never seen any kind of creation like this before. It was the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful beings I've ever seen in my life. And she turned around, she looked at me, and she said, you just have to endure it a little bit longer. I think to myself, what does that mean? You have to endure it. Endure what? Slavery? Food poisoning? Watching everyone you love die? So on, so on. Existential crises from the spheres and the moons going up and down. The strange little behaviors that people are exuding. Being confused, having extraterrestrial dreams and being astral. And why do I have to endure this? And she didn't. She just said you just have to endure it just a little bit longer. And she was so beautiful, and I was so controlled. Every time I have these situations with something celestial or holy, it's controlled. I can never say like how I'm freely talking now and I'm all in it. Nope, I'm not allowed to do that. It's always controlled somehow. And I just said, okay, whatever you say. Because she was so beautiful, it was hard to kind of deny anything she said. I was just grateful that she was even talking to me, whatever this creature was. That it took over all logic and reasoning in my mind. And I don't like that. I don't like that because I am angry. I have things to say. And I tried to beg her at first before I said, okay, I said, I don't want to go back there, please. Then she said it to me again, and I just said, whatever. But that stuck with me. That stuck with me. She said, I just have to endure it a little bit longer. Something else happened too, but that's a little too personal, and I think it's a part of a reason why I'm here. I think I'm here to abolish darkness out of me. But I don't see how you can abolish darkness out of me or you with more darkness. If we're messed up spirits and we're missing a link, if we're addicted to this or addicted to that, or we can't stop this or we can't, why would you meet evil with evil? Why enslave us in work simulations and extraterrestrial experiences and be completely tripped out to try to absolve some darkness inside of our souls? Why would you meet evil with evil? Why not meet evil with kindness? Why not throw water on the fire? Why put fire in fire? If you put fire on fire, it's just going to burn to even more fire. So I don't understand the galactic celestial purification process that we're going through here as deities or entities or whatever we are. We could be just batteries for all we know, just like in the Matrix. We could be biological and extraterrestrial batteries. And when we stress out and go through hard situations, it exudes a loosh, which is the esoteric meaning of energy. And that's their substance that they eat off of our suffering. Who knows? But what I do know is it's not right to leave us in this state of understanding and just let us just go through it until we rot and die. What an awful thing to do. I live alone, and when I was younger, I would have thought that living. You think that you would be scared eventually of some shit would happen to you, and you ain't got nowhere to go to. You ain't got nobody to hold. Nothing. It's just you. That'll make you tough. Living alone, yeah, that'll make you real tough. You give a fuck about anything. An alien, a fucking demon, fuck it. Fuck you. Pop up. Pop up, I'm bored. That's what happens when you live alone for a long time. But to what end? What is the meaning? What is the lesson in all of this? It's hard for me to post prissy videos of me doing something with all the knowledge that I have now. Like, I don't see how people get on YouTube and post videos of them cooking. Look how I made this salad. Look how I cooked this salmon. Whoa, look at this. Look at the, oh, everybody's all jolly. If you're jolly, if you're happy in this world, then you're a fool. I was told by multiple people who I look up to in the past, a wise man is sad. A wise man is hurt. A fool is happy. Because how can you encapsulate everything that you know, everything that you've been through, and be jolly? That's ignorance. If you're happy, you're not going to do nothing about nothing. You're not going to try to figure out anything. If you're content with your imprisonment, you're not going to figure out the ways that it ticks. You're not going to figure out the hole that you can escape out of. You're not going to figure out how to leave. You know, it's a matter of perspective. Where you see hands, I see tentacles. Where you see teeth, I don't know, I see an alien, I see an alien mouth. I see a creature, a monster. Where you see hair, I see antennas. It's all a matter of perspective, right? I always ask people the deepest questions. They always try to talk to me as if they know what's going on. But when you really break it all down, no one knows what's going on. I love to use these analogies. I ask people, where are you? They'll go, I'm here in my house. I go, where's your house? I don't know. On a plane? On this? Well, where's this? Where's the plane? On Earth? Where's Earth? I don't know. In space? Where is space? And it all falls short. It always falls short. I mean, everything has to contain something, right? Everything is containing something. The cup in front of me is containing water. The table is containing the cup. My apartment floor is containing the table. Well, the ground beneath that is containing the apartment. The ground is being contained by the floating sphere, Earth, because the ground is just concrete, and concrete has been slathered on top of Earth. Earth is being contained by the universe, an endless black void. Well, what's containing that? It doesn't just stop there, right? And then that's when people realize that something's going on. And if you're not thinking about it, how are you going to figure it out? A long time ago, when I was like 16, 15, when I was first introduced to sin, I believe, I think it was pornography. Something. I was getting into pornography or something. And the weirdest shit happened to me. As a little boy, I remember one night I was in my bed and something just lifted me up from my nose and just lifted me upright in my bed. And I was like hovering in my bed for like a 0.4 seconds. I don't know. And there was nothing there. It was just the air had me by my nostrils. It didn't rip my nose or nothing. My nose should have ripped or something. Nope, it just had me, did what it wanted to do. It lifted me up and I was just sitting there dangling. And then it let me go and I fell back in my bed. And I got up and ran out my room and turned the light on and ran down my hallway and looked at my bedroom. And I'll never forget that. That was 20 years ago. That was about 20 years ago now. But you don't forget shit like that. Nothing lifting you up by your nose. That means that nothing, that same nothing that was there that did that is still here now. If not more. I just can't see it. It's wherever you are, there's something around you. I have a hard time falling into normality. I like to talk about this stuff because how do you get out of something if you don't talk about it? It's sick. What's been going on here is sick. You gotta be a tough motherfucker. You gotta be one closed-eyed, lip-quenching, middle of your forehead clenching motherfucker to live in something like this every day. And then get up and keep smiling. Hey, Billy. Jeff. Oh, Jeff. Sure. Sure, I'll do that. Sure, I'll do that, motherfucker. Sure. You want me to do what? You want me to go where? Okay. You gotta be a fucking lunatic right here to be able to masquerade as normality, knowing all of the advanced thoughts that I just said. You've got to be a slick mouth talking snake creation. You've got to be a tough manifestation to exist in a void and not know what's beyond it. To know that there's invisible entities lurking around like a fucking weasel. Over its head is probably over my shoulder right now. Invisible. You've got to be a fucking strong ass son of a bitch to live past a certain age. Or I would say to live past the understanding. Because there's old fools and there's young fools and it doesn't matter. What matters is when you step into the knowledge. You've got to be strong to live past the moment you step into the knowledge. But something deep down tells me that it'll never end. I don't believe that there's some fucking paradise waiting. I would like to hope so. That would be nice. That would be kind. That would be great. But I don't believe it. I believe that it's all a system of control and that something's just playing around with creation and that it's just going to keep resetting and resetting and resetting in different ways forever. You're going to die and pop back out of somebody else's womb, and it's just going to keep continuing forever. I hate to say dark stuff, but I like to say real stuff. I like to eat the truth. The truth is delicious. What better content is there to listen to than to listen to the things that I just said? Aliens, invisible spaceships, demons that are invisible walking around that you know are there, and I've been able to prove it too. Well, I guess not prove it, but I've been able to. I've told you this thing, the shit that's happened to me. You just better listen to people. You better listen to people when they tell you things. You take that knowledge and you move forward. Peace.